My cousin stole credit for my work. Then her wedding exposed everything. My cousin begged me to help plan her wedding, not because she couldn't afford a planner, not because she was overwhelmed, but because, according to her, I was the only person she trusted. At the time, that meant a lot to me. We'd grown up together. Family holidays, birthday parties, summer vacations. We weren't sisters, but we were close enough that people often assumed we were. So when she got engaged and called me crying with excitement, I was genuinely happy for her. A few days later, she asked if I could help with some wedding planning. Just a few things, she said. Nothing major. I agreed immediately. That turned out to be my first mistake, because a few things quickly became everything. Within weeks, I was helping choose venues, researching caterers, comparing photographers, reviewing contracts, creating guest lists, managing spreadsheets, tracking payments, and coordinating schedules. Every time I thought we were done, another task appeared. She always had a reason. You're so much better at this than me. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're saving my wedding. The compliments kept coming, and honestly, I believed them. I thought I was helping family. I thought we were working together. As the months passed, the wedding started taking shape. The venue was beautiful. The catering package was better than anything she'd originally planned. The florist offered a huge discount after weeks of negotiations. Even the photographer package had been upgraded. Every little improvement came from hours of work behind the scenes, work I was doing after my own job, late at night, during weekends, on lunch breaks. Sometimes I'd be answering vendor emails at midnight, but whenever I felt exhausted, she'd thank me, and that made it feel worth it. Then something strange started happening. Whenever family members asked about the wedding, she'd describe everything as though she'd done it herself. At first, I ignored it. Maybe she was just simplifying things. Maybe she forgot to mention my help. But then it kept happening. At family dinners, at engagement parties, on social media. She'd post photos from venue visits I arranged, food tastings I booked, decor consultations I organized, and every caption sounded the same. So proud of everything I've accomplished. I've worked so hard on this wedding. Months of planning finally paying off. Never we. Never my cousin helped. Just her. Eventually it started bothering me. But every time I considered mentioning it, I felt guilty. It wasn't about credit. At least that's what I told myself. I convinced myself it didn't matter. The wedding wasn't about me, so I stayed quiet. Then one afternoon, everything changed. I received a call from the florist. At first, I assumed it was routine, maybe another delivery confirmation. Instead, he sounded confused. He asked why I'd changed the centerpiece design. I told him I hadn't. There was silence. Then he said he'd received instructions from my email address. Except the email wasn't mine, it was hers, using an account created with my name. I was stunned. The florist forwarded the email chain, and that's when I discovered something much bigger. Not only was she pretending to be me when speaking with vendors, she was also taking full credit for every decision. The emails were filled with statements like, "I personally designed the wedding concept. I negotiated these discounts myself. I organized every aspect of this event." I sat there staring at the screen, reading line after line, not believing what I was seeing. Months of work, thousands of messages, hundreds of hours, and she'd erased me from all of it. I wanted to confront her immediately. I really did. But something stopped me. Instead, I started paying attention. And the more I looked, the worse it got. Vendor after vendor, email after email. The same story. She was presenting herself as a one-woman wedding machine, a self-made bride who had somehow created a luxury wedding entirely on her own. Then came the social media post, the one that pushed everything over the edge. 1 week before the wedding, she uploaded a long message. It went viral among friends and family. She talked about sacrifice, hard work, determination, sleepless nights, and how she'd personally planned every detail without help from anyone. Thousands of likes, hundreds of comments. People praised her dedication. People called her inspiring. Family members shared it. Meanwhile, I sat there reading comments about work I'd actually done. And still, I said nothing. Part of me wanted to expose her. Another part wanted to avoid drama. The wedding was only days away. Maybe it wasn't worth it. Maybe I should just let it go. So I did. Or at least, I tried. Then the wedding day arrived. The venue looked incredible. Guests filled the room. Music played. Everything ran perfectly because I'd spent 6 months making sure it would. As the evening progressed, speeches began. The groom thanked his family. The parents spoke. Friends shared stories. Then it was her turn. She stood at the microphone smiling, looking happier than I'd ever seen her. She thanked her husband, her parents, her bridesmaids, her friends, her co-workers, the venue staff, the caterers, the florist, the photographer, almost everyone in the room, except me. Not one mention, not one thank you, not even a glance. I felt my stomach drop. Months of work, months of support, months of sacrifice, and apparently I didn't exist. The speech ended. Applause filled the room. I remember thinking that was it. That was the final insult. But then something unexpected happened. The venue manager walked toward the stage. At first, everyone assumed it was some kind of announcement. Maybe about dinner, maybe about the schedule. Instead, he took the microphone. He smiled and said there was someone he wanted to recognize. The room quieted down. Then he started talking about the person who had spent months coordinating vendors, the person who negotiated discounts, the person who solved problems behind the scenes, the person responsible for making the day possible. I knew immediately where this was going. My cousin did too, because the smile vanished from her face. The manager looked directly at me and said my name. The room went silent. Then something incredible happened. The florist stood up, then the photographer, then the caterer. One by one, vendor after vendor began applauding. Some of them even pointed toward me, because unlike the guests, they knew exactly who had done the work. My cousin sat frozen, unable to say anything, unable to stop it. Months of lies were collapsing in front of everyone. Not because I exposed her, not because I sought revenge, but because the truth had finally caught up with her. The applause lasted less than a minute, but the damage was done. For the rest of the evening, guests kept approaching me, asking questions, learning what had really happened. And for the first time all year, people knew the truth. My cousin spent months stealing credit. She built an entire image around work she never did, and she lost that image in less than 60 seconds. To this day, people still remember her wedding. Not because it was beautiful, not because it was expensive, not because everything went perfectly. They remember it because the biggest surprise wasn't the bride. It was discovering who had actually made the wedding happen.